Hey there, guys. This is Angry Viking Man, Ghost Warrior, and this is Alice Poluchova from CZ USA. She is the CEO and president of CZ USA.
Hey, good afternoon.
Okay, well, just for the interview, we wanted to ask you a few questions about yourself so that everybody can have a face to put with the people who run the company. And get to know you a little bit.
We try. You guys are always very kind to us, and I don't like to brag too much about myself. So we'll keep the focus on the company, on the history, on the product, and on the consumers. So
Okay.
Fire away.
Well, I did want to ask you a couple of things about yourself. Just tell us how you came to be in the position you're in, and how what you do for the company.
All right. Well, it's actually a pretty simple story. I was in my last year of college, and I was looking for an internship. And the factory back then, 20 years ago, they had it was one of the few businesses in the Czech Republic that have established export department and sales. And my passion was always sales and the foreign trade. So I asked for the internship, and I spent the summer, 2 months in the factory. And before I left, I looked at the people in charge, and I said, well, I would really like to have an opportunity to apply for a job, once I'm done with my college. And they said, you know what, we will be opening a territory of South America. And I had English was my first foreign language, and Spanish was second. And he said, and you qualify, so yes, you can go and you can apply for the job. And so I did. So that's how I got to the factory, and that was the summer of 1995. So it will be 20 years, in this summer. And that's how I started in the sales position, being a junior sales assistant for the South America. And I've been with the factory for 3 years when the team got together, and they thought that they want to control the destiny of the United States market, and they will be working on the CZ USA project. And I thought, well, I would like to be a part of it. So we started, we'll draw it on the paper, met with some people, and next thing you know, in January 98, I relocated to United States. I was supposed to come for 6 months, train people on the product, and I've never left. That was January 98. So I stayed here, and just as a personal note, which was very important to me, both my husband and I, we became U.S. citizens in 2009. So Fantastic. I'm not going anywhere.
CZ USA is growing quickly. Just as a quick guess, what's CZ's market share in the United States?
I think really to answer that, you would have to go into a different segments. I would say that in the rimfire rifle market, it might be anywhere close to 3, 4, 5%. It's still small numbers, but the rimfire rifles, we are known for. The factory has been making them since the 50s, and so we've got some market share. We are working, with our hard work and good team of people and good products, and our CZ customers and CZ fans. We've been growing the market share in pistols, but it's still a drop in a bucket, which the company has grown, and I look at it as a great opportunity to get CZ to people who still never heard about CZ. So it's ever growing. I would say realistically maybe 2-3%. So there is still room to improve.
While CZ is relatively unknown in the United States, it's very well known in the world market. You guys supply a lot of law enforcement and military. What is your best guess as to your share in the world market?
Well, I tell you what, the gun business worldwide, is huge. So they are countries that, because the factory has been in business since 1936, and in that time they built a lot of pistols. Just when you think about it, this year we will be celebrating the 40th anniversary of CZ 75, and the factory, they broke the million CZ 75s built, 10 years ago. So it's a pretty impressive number. Historically, there are states and countries that preferred CZ, whether it was by political affiliation in the old days of a communist regime. So the Eastern Bloc used a lot of guns, but that fell apart 25 years ago. So the factory built new loyalties, and historically South America is our good market, and the US is becoming very important for the factory. We've been here for 17 years, and and although the market share is small, the numbers grow every year. So we've been very fortunate. And I always say that the hardest sale is the first sale. To tell people that CZ is here, let them try, let them shoot, whether it's a 22 rifle or a pistol. And once they are hooked, they just need bigger safes. And I bet both of you guys can attest to that, right?
Yeah, and so can my wife.
Yes.
What made me first fall in love with CZ was I watched a video on YouTube about the SPL1 Phantom. And me personally, I don't like polymer frame guns. I like steel. Feels good, less recoil. And that's what made me fall in love with CZ in 2011. And that's whenever I met Ghost Warrior here, and I became a member of the forum. There's an urban legend about CZ as far as your world market share, that you outsell any two U.S. manufacturers put together.
Let's leave something, unanswered. We are getting into an area that I don't feel qualified, to comment, on this. But it's been good.
CZ USA actually does a good bit of charity work. Shooters such as Bobby Holick and the late Tom Knapp, the late great Tom Knapp, helped put a public face on CZ USA and did charity work across the country. What other ways does CZ USA contribute to the community and country at large, be it youth programs, shooter development, and community outreach?
I think, it's very important, for us, when we look strategically, on gun sales, it's not just to sell a gun, but hunting and shooting, is a tradition. It's a family tradition, and we try to look forward, and we like to say, well, we want to make sure that 10 years, 20 years down the road, there will be a next generation, that will be interested in this outdoor activity. Not necessarily, we would love for people to hunt, but we realize, the urban growth, it might not be, but shooting is such a beautiful sport, and all forms, whether it's a pistol shooting or 22 shooting or precision shooting, it's a wonderful sport for people. And for kids and for the whole family, for that matter. And so it's important for us to recognize and actually actively participate. And so we do, I don't want to say we do business, but we do support, different 4-H groups, Boy Scout troops. We've got the SCTP program, which is the scholastic program for the trap shooting. And in order to be able to cater for families with kids, you have to have models. You have to have guns that are affordable, because not everybody can afford to spend $5,000 on a shotgun, for your kids. So we found a niche on the market with the entry level that is affordable, that parents can buy, and those guns shoot because the quality. If you buy a CZ rifle or a CZ22, it still has the hammer forged barrel. It's an entry level price, but the quality that you get out of it is a superior quality. And that helped, and it's actually now being here for 17 years. I remember I've been fortunate enough to attend different charity shoots, or even those summer camps, and visit with the scouts. And I remember meeting kids that back then they were 13 years old, and now they are 10 years old, and they've got their own families, but they still come to me and they said, what, the CZ Woodcock was my first shotgun, but since then, I bought 3, and I'm happy that I learned, the basics of shooting, and the CZ became part of my life, and now for my family, and they have already their kids, and then I get a letter that says, oh, well, maybe we will buy a CZ Scout, for my daughter, and that really is very rewarding, for us, that it's not just about the sales, but you also know the heritage and the values, that can continue on.
Well, one of the things that I like, I've always been my entire life a small gunner, pistol, all right, revolver or semi-automatic, or the biggest thing I ever went to was the MP5, a submachine gun, or 20-inch Winchester Western pump shotgun. But I was never particularly good, actually terrible at long rifles. Okay, I was never really grasped the concept. And just recently, we invested in a set of the 455s, and I did the 22 long rifle, the Winchester mag, and the 17 HMR. And Wayne and I went up to see Wayne, and we took him out to the range, and I got to shoot him, and it was one of the actually pretty close to the first time I've ever picked up a rifle and actually hit the target and did really quite well
Iron
with
sights?
it.
Iron sights? Wonderful.
And it was really fun for me because it was something I've always wanted to do and I've always been horrible at. And you know, maybe it's just because my mindset after using and carrying a CZ for literally 40 years. It's the only gun I've ever carried was a CZ in 40 years of one version or another. And now I'm picking up, I have a 550 Irvin counter sniper rifle. And to be honest with you, I've always wanted to learn how to use that. I'm still not too good with it. But picking up the 455 has given me a lot more confidence in the fact that, okay, I actually can hit the target. So now I just have to take that a step higher and, you know, apply it to the 550 308.
Thank you.
So and the fact that you have that rifle out with 3 interchangeable barrels, and you can either sell it either as a rifle or a rifle with a spare barrel, and they can pick the barrel or even add another barrel later on. For the value, for the money, okay, is just, I mean, the whole thing, all that put together just made so much sense, and I've never seen anything really along those lines where it made it affordable for people to learn. Basically, you have 3 rifles, and you're buying one. You got 3. That's not coming out right, but what I'm saying is that it's a really.
It's 3 rifles in one,
and it's a
you
good
have
way to
interchangeable
learn,
caliber.
It's a good way to
and it's
learn, yes.
inexpensive, and it is a hoot to shoot. Really, I just have so much fun playing with that. Good.
What new products are you most excited about for 2015?
Well, it's hard not to mention the Scorpion. You know, it's been something that we had in development, you know, for a while, and ATF approved it for importation in the pistol version last year, and the first pieces start coming in. So I think it gives the CZ the cool factor as well. But you know, going back to the more traditional, I'm very excited. You know, as I mentioned it earlier, the CZ75 celebrates its 40th anniversary. So we've got 1,000 engraved CZ75s coming to the US, and I've been very excited about that because it just tells you, you know what, it is a good gun when you start adding those numbers, you know, and celebrating anniversaries. I'm very excited about the Dan Wesson. You know, it's been 10 years since CZ USA acquired the Dan Wesson, and we are coming back with the revolver 357 Magnum. We've got some new 10mm offering in the silverback and 45 for that matter. And last but not least, in the long guns, the youth carbine, the 527 in 762 by 39 and 223. That goes along the line of, you know, youth shooters or introducing new people and kids to shooting. But there is way more. You know, I'm actually, our catalog this year is very thick, so it would take me forever to name all of those models, but I would encourage people to go to our website, czusa.com, and on the front page, you know, you've got all the listing of the new models for this year.
When do you plan on coming out with the CZ1911?
The CZ1911, we should see some by April.
Okay.
We've got 1,000, you know, limited production of 1,000 pieces because CZ has never been known as a 1911 manufacturer, so we'll test the waters and introduce a CZ1911.
I can't wait. It's
We're definitely looking forward to that.
It will be a good one. You know, from the prototypes and the pre-production samples that I've seen and that I've shot, it's a sweet one.
Are there any old versions of the CZs that you would like to see brought back?
I enjoy hunting and going to different safari shows or going. I was very fortunate to go to Africa and work with some PHs, and they had the ZKK 602, the predecessor of the CZ550 Safari Magnum. And when you hold a gun, you know, that was made in the 80s, it's not really rusty, but all the bluing is wear off, and it still shoots, and you see, you know, how accurate it is. I read that would be one gun that I would like to see, but I mean, it got replaced by a better model, but from a sentimental reasons, I think that was really a gun that made that put CZ under the Brno name, on the map of the dangerous game, through the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And you go to Africa, and 70% of the professional hunters, use CZs because they work.
Like Mr. Razor Dobbs.
Yes.
There aren't a lot of firearms industry presidents who are active in shooting sports as you are. What's your favorite shooting discipline to practice?
Yeah, I like all kind of shooting, and it goes. We've got wonderful product, and I figured out, well, it all started. If I'm selling something, I better know how it performs, and then once you start, you fall in love with it. So whether it's hunting, whether it's pistol shooting, right now the sports of my choice is the sporting clays. It got under my skin, when you shoot those 100 birds and, you miss some and, well, I know I can do better. So it's kind of like a drug. And I've been taking lessons and attending some sporting clays shoot and met wonderful people across the shooting ranges, in the U.S. And that's a sport that I'm spending my time on right now.
And speaking of the hunting rifles, I understand you do a lot of hunting, or, at least did. Such as bird hunting, big game, and you've even gone to Africa and hunt some dangerous game. What was your favorite hunt?
I have to say, actually, all of the hunts were memorable. It's not just about pulling the trigger, but when we go, to hunt, you meet new people, you see new places, you get introduced to some game, and I met some of the best friends were made around the campfire. So every hunt, has a sentimental value. I do enjoy anything. The North American hunting, whether it's looking for that whitetail and hoping that a big, 10-pointer comes out. But elk hunting, big hunting is fun. Bird hunting, I've been very fortunate that I could experience different kinds. So it's very difficult to pick the best one. If I have to, I always enjoy the what I call the pure hunting. When you get on a horseback, you go into the mountains, and you are there for a week and living in a tent. So that allows me to really disconnect. There is no phone signal, there is no internet, and I get a lot of rest, in my mind. And some of the good ideas actually came again, by talking to hunters, friends, around the campfire.
It's good for the soul.
Yes.
It occurred to me just now that, which is strange because I've known you for 3 years now, you are a female shooter, all right? And a lot of the shooting now used to be an all-guy sport, and now more and more women are moving into it, all right? But I guess the question I'm trying to ask is there, how do I put this? CZ, are they going to try to market? They market generally now, but are they going to try, or are you thinking about, at least for the U.S. market, sort of marketing towards women to get them more interested in shooting? Like Danny Bryan she does a lot of that. She's actively participating in bringing women into the sport and stuff like that. Is it something CZ may be thinking about doing to bring more women into the shooting sport? Because the pistols are so really accurate and easy to use, and I guess that's self-serving on my part, but what do you think along those lines? Is there,
You know what? I really, in the shooting sport, I don't like to differentiate, men or women, because you've got a certain, people with a certain nature that just enjoy that. And I met a lot of women. We encourage women, but I think you mentioned one name, Danny Bryan, and there are some girls in the industry that actually dedicated their life on introducing and being the good coaches. With CZ, we are in a business of selling guns. I might enjoy shooting, but I don't have the skills to teach. So I think it is important, and Danny, she shoots a CZ75. Actually, she's got the SPO1.
Yeah.
So that's the best that we can do. We promote it. It's nice to be to be a woman, and every time I have a chance to talk either to new shooters or to girls that actually participate, I'm just very grateful that they do it, because it's not easy. it's a lot of responsibility, and you need to be a good instructor to take, you know, people out, whether it's kids, whether it's women, or whether it's new shooter in general. You know, then we see there is a generation, you know, that, and my age or a little bit younger, you know, they grew up on computer games, but they really never been in the woods. So it's nice to see a comeback, and with the sponsored programs that we see in high schools, you know, that trap teams are formed, you know, that the shooting is, it just feels like shooting is becoming more politically correct sport, you know, and family, really family venue. You know, I've got several friends, you know, that if my husband and I go out, you know, we call our friends and say, hey, let's go out and shoot, and they bring, you know, their kids, and it's a fun for the whole family.
It's really a bonding experience.
Yes.
We did that
Yes,
with
it
my
is.
daughter. She learned how to shoot using my
So
my
I admire
TV.
all the girls, and even, you know, girls like Julie Golub. It's important that they are the role models. You know, you know.
Sarah Dunham.
Yes, and Sarah just got married last week. Yeah, I saw that on Facebook. So congrats, Sarah. Good luck. But it's amazing. We've got good women shooters, but even if they shoot for a different team, it doesn't really matter. You know, I think any ambassador, good sportsman, you know, whether it's a girl or a boy, you know, we look for good people to represent CZ as well. You know, it's not just about shooting or winning, it's about being the ambassador, you know, and help out and have the sense for fair play and enjoy the sport.
Well, I think that CZ has a good head on its shoulders and someone who can do well to promote the sport and the firearms industry in general. Thank you so much for your time today.
No,
Ms. Poluchova.
thank you. It was awesome. Thank you guys, and don't forget, you know, when you buy your first CZ, I guarantee you'll come back for more. So, thank you guys.
Thank you for watching.
Thanks a lot, Alice. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.